So in the last class, we described the concept of what is meant by work in science, in scientific arena. Because literal definitions won't be very specific in science. It would be very ambiguous. So work, what is work? We defined it very well. What is energy? We discussed quite a little bit energy. We went a little bit out of the track from science to describe what energy is, because the nature of energy is just like that. What this chapter is trying to teach you is how to use the concepts, not what are the concepts in absolute depth. In absolute depth, what are the concepts? These are kind of very deep, very fundamental. So we described what energy is, we described what work is, we described the different forms of energy that are all throughout in work, always in the entire universe. So out of that, in this context, in this our scope, we were only interested in two expressions of mechanical energy. What are those? Kinetic energy and potential energy. So in the last class, I described what kinetic energy actually is and how to feel it, how to visualize it, how to understand it. So whenever I am doing a work on an object and its velocity increases, we can say that there is some kinetic energy that is associated with the object. So kinetic energy is the energy that is associated with a body which is in motion. It is always the energy associated with a body when it is in motion. So whenever an object is in motion, we can say that energy that is responsible, or the energy that it holds, back then the expression, the form of energy, that is kinetic in nature. Today we shall dwell deep into potential energy. Potential energy is much more fundamental, and potential energy, its description can be a variety of facets. Like the description of kinetic energy, that is not any kind of kinetic energy. That is the description of work which I intentionally skipped right now. Okay? Because it is not necessary. You are not yet very convenient, or you are not yet familiar with trigonometry, right? So we are ascribing ourselves to only, see, time and again I have said, force and motion in the direction of force, motion in the direction of force, motion in the direction of force, displacement in the direction of force. Did I use the term repeatedly? In the direction of force. This is to ascertain the cos theta factor. Are you getting my point? So that cos theta stuff is dependent on the direction of displacement with respect to the force applied. But this is not in our periphery right now, because we are not yet accustomed with trigonometric factors. So you can forget it. It won't come, right? It won't come. It won't come because, see, CBSE, CBSE has not introduced trigonometry before class 10. Okay, please understand this. So by any means, CBSE in class 9 is not going to give any question which can be based on trigonometry. But otherwise, after completing this chapter as an epilogue or as appendix, we can study that a little bit, okay? But right now, let us focus on the main channel here, okay? I know, I was completely aware of this fact, and I intentionally ignored it so that unnecessary stuffs don't come in the middle. Because now you would be exposed to a completely new kind of geometry that is called as trigonometry. There are some things here and there, but hold on, we shall cover everything, okay? So we had two expressions of mechanical energy. One is kinetic energy, which we have studied in quite a depth. Now we shall describe what potential energy is. This is very important. Unlike kinetic energy, which has only expression in motion, potential energy has a whole lot of different expression. There can be potential energy stored in different kind of fields. In electric field, there can be potential energy. In gravitational field, there can be another kind of potential energy. Whatever, in different kinds of fields that you have, there can be potential energy. So what does potential energy actually mean? So to be very crisp and precise, so Basically, potential energy. So what is potential energy at the first place? So potential energy is the energy that is stored, okay, that has no other expression other than getting stored. If work is done on an object and it is not in motion, what does it mean? Does that mean that the object is gaining no energy? No, it is gaining, but it is storing the energy. That type of energy is called as potential energy. Like, for example, suppose there is a bow. Yes, this is a famous example. Suppose there is an Indradhanush, and what are you doing is you are stretching it out like this. See, the more you stretch, if you leave it, the more fast it will go, isn't it so? The more you stretch, when you leave, the faster it will go. So I can say the more I am stretching, the more work I am doing, the more energy is getting stored here. Are you getting my point? Not only this, you have, suppose, a spring and you tie an object to it. When you extend it like this, then if you extend it and keep it there, you have done a work. Okay, so basically when I stretch the object, when it is connected with a spring and I'm stretching it, when I'm stretching it, if I just leave it at the moment, it will go with a huge amount of speed. For catching that speed, it needs energy from somewhere. That is the potential energy. How is it getting potential energy? By the work that I am doing. Is this clear? Yes. Any question? Okay. Are you trying to, are you feeling the thing? How is this happening? I'm doing a work and I'm not causing any motion. That means the work I'm doing is getting stored as energy. No. That is not at all related. No. That is not related to any form of potential energy or something like that. He is going back so that he can gain some momentum. Nothing else. The more blow he can give, the more fast it will go. It has nothing to do with potential energy. Potential energy is always when you do some work and it is not expressed in the form of motion, so it is stored. And the moment it finds a release, a position, a situation, it just goes very fast. Are you getting my point? No. Where is energy getting stored when you are trying to play carom? It's not. Suppose you have a batul. You have seen a batul? In your times, yes, this is called as catapult. So I don't know in your generation you have seen this or not, but oh, this is a kind of batul. So you have a stone here and you stretch it and you throw it, it just goes like this. When you are stretching it, you are doing work, but it is not, it has no expression in the form of velocity. So it is getting stored in the form of potential energy. Are you getting my point? Once again, suppose you have a magnet. Suppose this is the south pole of a magnet. If you bring another south pole close to it, once again, this is the potential energy that is getting stored under a magnetic field. Are you getting my point? The moment you release it, it will just go away like this. Similarly, you have gravitational field also, and this is our main point of concern right now. Suppose you have a gravitational field. Everywhere around us is gravitation. There is gravitational field. We are always in its presence. So here, you have to do work to put something against gravity, isn't it so? So there is an object. Now you slowly do some work. You put it up, put it here. Okay. Suppose we have an object here, and we are trying to raise it Of course we need to do work because we will be raising it against the gravitational field. So if you bring it to this height h, if there is no velocity, the energy that is stored here is in the form of potential energy. Are you getting my point? So now, can you find the potential energy that will be stored in this? Very easy. What will be the potential energy stored in it? If I move it very slow, the potential energy will be stored, will be the work that I do on it. So the work that I will do on it is force multiplied by the displacement, that is h. Now what is the force? If I have to pull it very slowly, I have to apply a force exactly equal to the weight of it, isn't it so? If I pull it with a force even little more than mg, it will start accelerating. I don't want it. So I will pull it with exactly a force mg up to a height of h. So mgh is my work done on this object, and this is exactly the potential energy that is stored on it. Work and energy are not exactly same, although their units are same, the concepts are similar, but work is something that I do. Energy is something that gets stored or that finds expression. Okay. So basically I am doing work on it means I am transferring energy to it. Are you getting my point? Seeing things in the term of energy with respect to energy is just a beautiful and different way of seeing things, nothing else. Now what happens is, if I leave this object, it will suddenly fall into the ground. Why? Because now by force, this is a different perspective that we had already in the chapter of force. Now in work and energy, we will see the same thing in a different perspective. How? We will see it only with energy. Try to understand this. At this point, there was no velocity, only potential energy, right? So now energy cannot get stored. This is a very fundamental law of the universe and nobody knows why. An object always wants to be at its lowest possible state of energy. Always. Any object with high energy is unstable. Okay? Any object always wants to stay at its minimal energy state. It has a huge amount of... No. Not like that. You are not getting it. Any object, suppose, if it is in a potential field, if it is having potential energy, it will be unstable. Why? Because it is having the energy which it can spend. Are you getting my point? Here the energy is stored. Does this object have any way to reduce the energy fast? Yes, it has. How? It will throw itself to the ground. It will lower its potential energy. And how can it lower its potential energy? Only when it will reduce the height. Okay? So it is gradually reducing the height. Potential energy is reducing. But you know that energy cannot be destroyed. So this energy won't be going anywhere. Potential energy is decreasing. Now, where can it find expression? In the form of kinetic energy. Suppose here 10 joules of potential energy is lost. That means 10 joule of kinetic energy will be gained here. Because energy cannot be destroyed. Energy won't be going anywhere here. Transformed. Are you getting my point? This is what I have lifted and I'm throwing it. So the potential energy is getting converted into kinetic energy. This is one perspective of visualizing the same phenomena. Are you getting my point? So now, I want you to appreciate this beautiful thing. You have learnt motion. Now suppose an object is at height h. Find its velocity. An object from a tower of height h is released. Okay. Find its velocity at the bottom or when it reaches the bottom. Quickly find it by motion. Yes, just when it touches the ground. You know the equations of motion? No. Forget about energy. Everything you forget. Suppose you don't know any chapter on work and energy. Now I am giving you that an object is dropped from height h. Find its velocity when it just touches the ground. Can you not find it? You have all the equations of motion. Yes, find it out. Equations of motion you already know. You are solving these problems. V square is equal to u square plus 2gh. U is 0. How much is V? Two-line problem and you are thinking so much. This bias should not happen in class. What if it is wrong? Where is the problem if an answer is wrong? Is there any problem? So you should have told me. Whatever comes, you should have told me. If you are wrong, at least you will learn. If you shut your mouth like that, you can't learn anything. You won't have the confidence. Even if you are wrong, tell it with confidence. Then we can see how to correct those things. This is for everybody. So, no, not now. So I want you to show one thing here. This is purely by the Newtonian concept, isn't it so? The same thing you can also see by the perspective of energy. How? See, initially in the beginning, all it had is potential energy, isn't it so? It had only potential energy because it had no kinetic energy. So this was the entire energy that it had. So mgh was the total energy. Yes. Now this energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So it will only get transformed. So when this entire potential energy becomes zero just on touching the ground, because height is zero here, is the potential energy not zero? But if the potential energy is zero, then the entire energy has been converted into kinetic energy now. Yes, because the entire energy has been converted into kinetic energy, because energy can't go anywhere. Okay, if it had been into half the position, then it would have been mgh by 2 plus half mv square. Are you getting my point? I'll be discussing this case in the next part, not right now. So from here, m and m gets cancelled. V square is equal to 2gh. Can you see V is equal to root 2gh? So this is how you see things in the context of energy. This, what you did, this is called as energy conservation. Okay, and this method is called as kinematics. So from both the things, answer must be the same because this is physics. There is no place of ambiguity here, at least now in classical physics. Okay, is this clear to you? Okay, now just one more problem try. Using both the ways, using kinematics and energy conservation, find its velocity when the object goes h by 3 down from its height. Yes, when the object travels 1/3 of the height, find its velocity. Everybody solve this. Okay, so in the first case it was there, and in the final situation it was somewhere here where it went already height h by 3. So if you do it with pure kinematics, it is the displacement, that is h by 3, or v square is equal to u square. U was 0, 2gh by 3. So this becomes 2gh, I mean root 2gh by 3. And in the other hand, now if you try to see it in context of energy conservation, what is energy conservation? Energy conservation is initial energy, initial total energy is equal to final total energy. Any conservation means just this, the initial value and the final value is same. That only means it is conserved. So initially total energy was only potential energy, that is mgh. Finally it has lost some potential energy. So what it is, final potential energy, that is 2 mgh by 3, isn't it so? its final potential energy is the height it is at, that is 2h by 3. So mg into 2h by 3 is the final potential energy plus the kinetic energy that we'll have at this point. So if you subtract it, you will get mgh by 3 is equal to half mv square. Gets cancelled. V is equal to root 2gh by 3. In both the ways, are you seeing that the answer is coming out to be same? This is the beauty of physics. Okay. Now, no, you yourself tell me, what is it? Of course, where would the potential energy come from? No, it won't have. If it is static in the ground, there is no potential energy, there is no kinetic energy at this level. Nothing. Total energy is 0. Now, you did not put energy only here. Where will it come from? Yes, after it has dropped, it will bounce for some time, isn't it so? So it will continually lose the energy in the form of friction, in the form of sound, in many other forms as heat. After losing energy, it will come to a standstill. Only after losing the energy. Please understand this. Otherwise, how can it come still like this? Now it will have again an energy 0 because all the energy you provided it has expended it. Are you getting my point? Whatever questions I gave, it was always just at the moment of touching. That means it has not touched. It is just at the moment. One moment after it will touch the ground. Before that, it has no interaction with the ground whatsoever. I only mean to say the potential energy that I provided became 0. Is this clear? Am I clear on my point? Okay, good. So basically now you might ask some questions. Like, suppose an object is here and suppose an object is here. Suppose this is a stair and here is an object. Which one has potential energy 0? This or this? A or B? How can you say this? There can be something even below this. Now, who said that this is ground? I did not say that this is ground. There may be something below this also. You must understand this. Potential energy, the term itself, the potential energy term is very ambiguous itself because it is not absolute. Please understand. Potential energy is not absolute. Only the change in potential energy is what I can measure. Are you getting my point? Because here, at this point, you can define potential energy to be anything. If you take this as ground, it will be 0. If you take this as ground, this will be something. Are you getting my point? Therefore, we have no interest in determining what potential energy an object has in the beginning. We take it to be 0 if this is with respect to any layer. But what is significant is how much change in potential energy has happened. Are you getting my point? The more important terminology here is the change in potential energy because that is what it's absolute. Are you getting my point? I can assume the potential energy here to be 5 joules or 500 joules. But if I work 10 joules more, in the first case, I'll be having 15 joules as its potential energy, and in this case 515 joules. 510 joules. In both the cases, the difference is going to be 10 joules now. So this difference is what is important because this can be arbitrary. Whatever you consider the potential energy at one level is very arbitrary in nature. So it is the change in potential energy that is important. Are you getting my point? Only the change. This is important. This is what determines everything. This is what we use to solve the problems. Okay. So in this context, you can assume anything to be the ground level. It does not matter what. Okay. If you assume this to be the ground, anything below this will be negative potential energy. Are you getting my point? So once again, Because potential energy term itself can be arbitrary. It is the change in potential energy which is more important. So right now you know about energy conservation. This is all about energy conservation. You have applied this. So you have learnt about potential energy, you have learnt about energy conservation. Now you have one last thing, that is called as power. Okay, there is one last concept here. This is called as power. Now suppose there is a boy who goes up the stairs. Suppose there is a 50 kg boy who goes up the stairs in 2 seconds, and there is a 50 kg man who goes up the stairs in 8 seconds. So who is more powerful in his legs? The little boy, isn't it so? Here comes the concept of power. It seems that in many areas of life, it is not about work done as specific, but at which rate the work is done. Are you getting my point? It is not merely about how much energy is spent, but how much energy is spent in a particular instant. Suppose I am telling you, suppose the electric heater that you have, the electric heater, suppose it spends 1000 joules in 1 second, and there is this light bulb that glows with an energy of 10 joules per second. So in 100 seconds, the 10 joules bulb will expend 1000 joules of energy, correct? So the bulb is also expending 1000 joules of energy, and the electric heater is also expending 1000 joules of energy. But what is the difference here? The bulb will not be able to heat anything, but the heater will be able to heat it instantly, heat anything instantly. Why? Because of the rate of work that is being done, or the rate of energy which is consumed. Are you getting my point? This idea of at which rate the energy is getting consumed is called as power. It seems that in daily life application, much more than the concept of energy or work, power holds certain importance. Are you getting my point? So how do I define power? In scientific terms, it is the work done per unit time. Okay? So can you tell me the SI unit of power? Joules per second, common sense. So joules per second is also called as watt. You know, there was a scientist in the name of James Watt. He worked a lot in the field of engines and power production and all. In his respect, we give the term of, we kind of, as a mark of respect, we define the unit of power, SI unit of power, as watt. Are you getting my point? So a power of 1 watt means an object is consuming 1 joule of energy per second. In 1 second, it is consuming 1 joule. 500 watt means an object is consuming 500 joule of energy in 1 second. Okay. More power hungry devices consumes more power per unit time. Like in any AC or in a refrigerator, you will see these are 1000 watt. Then you will see, the electric heaters, you will see 1.2 kilowatt. Kilowatt means 1000 watts. So 1 kilowatt means 1000 watts. Yes. So 1000 joules per second. Yes. So you will see 1.2 kilowatts. The heaters, big heaters. So that means that they are consuming 1000 joules or 1200 joules of energy per second in 1 second. Are you getting my point? These are a kind of okay. So if you know the power of it, if you know the power consumption, suppose your home theater is 600 watts. Okay, if your home theater is 400 watts, so suppose you played for 1 hour. If you played for 1 hour, that means for 3600 seconds, if it consumes 400 joule, this much joule will be the energy consumed. So that means 1440 kilojoules. 1440 kilojoules will be the energy consumed. Are you getting my point? So this is the idea of power. Is it simple enough? Okay. Would you like to do any problem? Okay. So do this. Do this. This is how your concept will get clear. I said that this is my Doraemon's page. It never ends. So there is Olivia and Ankita. Each of weight 45 kg climbs up a rope of height 8 meters. Olivia, hello? ভালো আছি আমি। So each of weight 45 kg climbs up a rope of height 8 meters. So what is the work done by both of them? Work done is the same, isn't it? 45 into 10 into 8 joules. Now, so this is kind of, I guess, 3600 joules, right? Now, Olivia, what? 10 is mgh. My God, mgh. So Olivia takes 20 seconds. So 180 watt is the power of Olivia. And Ankita takes 50 seconds. So that is 72 watt. Are you getting my point? So Olivia and Ankita. Yes. So this is the work done by both of you, or rather expended. Are you getting my point? So these are the type of problems that will be coming. Most probably this. I have to think, right? I have to think. I shall give, don't worry. In test, I shall come up with questions. Because I myself will be making all the questions in your test. So I shall be giving a compact problem set. Okay. Those are kind of higher order thinking skill type problem. Okay. So I shall surely think about it. Don't worry. So the last part is commercial unit of energy. Now you know about power, and you know this one thing, that electricity that comes to your home is consumed. Electricity is basically an energy, right? How much is consumed is measured in meter board in the units. Did you see? 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. Now we shall see today what exactly is a unit. So what is a unit? Nothing but an unit of energy. What constitutes 1 unit? Listen, if a device of 1 kilowatt continuously works for 1 hour, the total energy consumed by it will equal to 1 unit. Okay? Is that clear? 1 unit is quite a big amount of energy. If you calculate it, it will be 1000 into 3600 joules. Isn't it so? This is kind of quite a large amount of energy. So we call this as 1 kilowatt hour. Okay. Now how to calculate this? Suppose there is a 500 watt bulb running through 30 minutes. If you want to calculate in units how much energy is consumed in units, you should take this in kilowatts, which is 0.5 kilowatt, and you should take the time in hours, that is 0.5 hour. If you solve this, you will get 0.25 kilowatt hour, that is 0.25 units. Are you getting my point? If a 500 watt device runs for half an hour, 30 minutes, it will consume 0.25 units. Yes, this is how you should solve. A home theater is 400 watts. If it runs for how much? 1 hour. So this is 0.4. So 2.5 hours, right? So suppose a home theater runs for 2.5 hours. So it will consume 1 unit. Or is it so? But I did it wrong. Only 0.1 unit it will consume. Okay. So basically, the point is, no, not 0.1 unit. It will be 1 unit. Very easy. 2.5 means 5 by 2. 5 by 2 into 0.4 is 2. 2 by 2 is 1. 0.1 is a little much less. 400 watt. It is running for 2.5 hours. So for 30 days, it will consume 30 units. And if per unit cost is 7, it depends from area to area. You can check Google. So you have to pay 210 rupees only for this home theater running 2.5 hours per day. This is clear? This is how the commercial calculation of unit of energy is done. And this is what completes the entire chapter on work and energy.